The champagne flute shattered against our kitchen wall at exactly 8:47 p.m. on what should have been our 7th wedding anniversary. Crystal fragments sparkled across the marble floor like fallen stars, and I couldn't help but think how fitting that metaphor was for our marriage. "I deserve better than this," Vanessa screamed, her perfectly manicured finger jabbing toward me like a weapon. "Better than this house, better than this boring life, better than you, Elliot." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. I set down my fork. The anniversary dinner I'd spent 3 hours preparing growing cold between us. Prime rib, roasted vegetables, her favorite wine. All wasted, like the last 7 years of my life. "Okay," I said simply. The single word seemed to deflate her rage like a punctured balloon. She'd been expecting a fight, tears, begging. Instead, I reached for her phone, which she'd carelessly left unlocked on the table. "What are you doing?" she snapped. I scrolled through her messages, my software engineer brain cataloging evidence with cold precision. Text after text from ZC, Zane Carter, that sleazy real estate broker who'd been sniffing around our neighborhood like a dog in heat. "Business yoga at 11 p.m., I read aloud. "Late-night synergy sessions? Wow, Vanessa, your work schedule has gotten really creative." Her face went white. "That's private." Not anymore. I stood up, 6'2" of quiet fury in a button-down shirt. "You want better? Show me how much better he is when you're living in a studio apartment." She stormed out, heels clicking like gunshots across our hardwood floors. The front door slammed so hard it rattled the windows. I pulled out my own phone and dialed Mick's number. My old college buddy answered on the second ring. "Elliot? What's wrong? You still got that old dash cam equipment from your cop days?" "Yeah, why?" "I'm about to become a very different kind of man." 3 days later, I was installing new locks on our master bedroom when Vanessa returned from her business trip to find her designer wardrobe neatly boxed and waiting in the guest room. "What the hell is this?" she shrieked, rattling the bedroom door handle. "Spring cleaning," I called through the door. "Thought you might want your things somewhere more accessible." Mick emerged from my basement workshop, toolbox in hand. At 52, he still carried himself like the detective he used to be. Broad shoulders, steady eyes, and zero tolerance for nonsense. "All done down there," he announced. "Your new office is completely secure. She won't be snooping through your files anymore." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "Mick, this is between my husband and me." "Was," Mick corrected. "Past tense, sweetheart." That evening at Mick's bar, a dive called The Anchor that served as the town's unofficial information exchange, I nursed a beer while Tina, the sharp-tongued bartender, filled me in on the local gossip. "Saw your wife at the Riverside condos last week," Tina said, wiping down glasses. "That wasn't Pilates gear in her overnight bag, honey, unless they're teaching some very creative positions these days." My nephew Sam, 19 and brilliant with computers, slid onto the bar stool beside me. "Uncle Elliot, I did that research you asked for. Zane Carter, 34, drives a black BMW, license plate ZC sold, lives at 1247 Riverside Drive, Unit 12B. Good work, kid. There's more. He's got a fiancée, some marketing executive named Claire who thinks he's working late most nights. Interesting. Very interesting." That night, I ordered a large pepperoni pizza and had it delivered to Zane's condo from Vanessa, with love. Then I parked across the street and watched through binoculars as Zane answered the door in his underwear, looking confused and panicked when the delivery kid mentioned Vanessa's name loud enough for neighbors to hear. But that was just the appetizer. At 2 a.m., I slipped through the shadows of his parking garage. Security cameras had blind spots if you knew where to look, and my engineering background had taught me to always study the blueprints first. The key scraped across his BMW's pristine black hood with a sound like nails on a chalkboard. HOMEWRECKER. Each letter carved deep enough to reach the metal underneath. My phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa. "Family meeting tomorrow. Mom's flying in. We need to discuss terms." I smiled in the darkness. Terms. She had no idea what terms were coming. The community clubhouse buzzed with forced cheer as Vanessa hosted her girls' night, a transparent attempt to rally support before the divorce proceedings began. She'd invited every influential woman in our gated community, plus her mother Edith, a sharp-faced woman who'd hated me since our engagement. I wasn't invited, of course, but I came anyway. "Ladies," I announced, walking through the door with a bottle of champagne. "Don't mind me. Just wanted to toast my wife's independence." Vanessa's face flushed crimson. "Elliot, you need to leave, now." "Oh, I don't think so." I popped the cork with theatrical flair. "To honesty, to fidelity, and to all our dirty little secrets." The room fell silent. Sherry, Vanessa's best friend and biggest enabler, stood up like a guard dog. "How dare you embarrass her like this?" "Embarrass?" I laughed. "Sherry, did you know Zane Carter got his car keyed last week? Someone wrote homewrecker right across the hood. Can you imagine?" Whispers rippled through the crowd. In a community where gossip was currency, I'd just made a major deposit. Tina appeared at my elbow. She'd been catering the event. "Speaking of Mr. Carter," she announced loudly, "funny how he and Mrs. Brandt keep showing up at the same hotels, different nights, same rooms, almost like they're coordinating." The whispers became a roar. Vanessa looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. "You're lying!" Sherry shouted. "Am I?" Tina pulled out her phone. "I've got photos, receipts, timestamps. Want me to start sharing?" The crowd pressed closer, hungry for scandal. Vanessa grabbed her purse and fled, Edith trailing behind her like a furious shadow. But my real confrontation was waiting outside. Zane stood by the fountain in the community park, trying to look intimidating in his gym clothes. At 6 feet even, he was used to being the biggest guy in the room. Too bad for him, he wasn't in a room anymore. "You think you're clever?" he snarled. "Destroying my car? Humiliating Vanessa?" "I think I'm just getting started." I pulled out my phone and hit record. "Please continue threatening me. My lawyer loves video evidence." "You pathetic loser. No wonder she came to me. A real man who can satisfy her needs." "A real man?" I stepped closer, and he actually took a step back. "Real men don't sneak around with married women. They don't lie to their fiancés, and they definitely don't key their own cars for insurance money." His eyes widened. "What?" "Oh, didn't I mention? I know about your little fraud scheme. The staged break-ins, the inflated insurance claims. Claire might forgive the cheating, but the FBI, they're less understanding about wire fraud." I was bluffing, but his guilty expression told me I'd hit close to home. "You want round 2 with my property?" I pulled out a heavy steel flashlight, letting it catch the streetlight. "Or do you want to walk away and pretend this conversation never happened?" He walked away. Fast. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Check your mailbox." Inside was a manila envelope filled with photographs. Vanessa and Zane at restaurants, hotels, his condo. Professional quality, taken with a telephoto lens. Someone else wanted Vanessa destroyed. The question was who. The next morning brought answers I wasn't expecting. Sam had traced the photo's metadata to a camera registered under Sherry's name. "Your wife's best friend has been documenting the affair for weeks," he reported. "But here's the weird part. She's also been taking pictures of you, following your movements, cataloging your revenge activities. She's playing both sides. Gets worse. I found emails between her and some guy named Derek Morrison. They're planning to blackmail both you and Vanessa." Derek Morrison. Sherry's unemployed boyfriend who'd been looking for a quick score. They thought they could profit from our marriage's destruction. Time to disappoint them. I called Zane from a burner phone, disguising my voice with a simple electronic modulator Sam had rigged up. "Mr. Carter, this is Detective Williams with the Fraud Division. We need to discuss your recent insurance claims." The panic in his voice was beautiful. Within an hour, he was calling Vanessa, begging her to run away with him to Mexico. She refused. She wasn't stupid enough to flee the country with a man facing federal charges. But I wasn't done with Zane yet. That afternoon, I paid a visit to his condo building's maintenance department. A $100 bill bought me 5 minutes alone with his car in the underground garage. 5 minutes was all I needed to dump a bucket of spoiled shrimp into his BMW's air intake system. The smell would be unforgettable. My real target was the evening confrontation at the Anchor. Vanessa and Zane burst through the door like avenging angels, ready for their final stand. "Enough!" Vanessa shouted. "Whatever sick game you're playing ends now!" The bar went quiet. Mick stepped out from behind the counter. Tina flanked my other side, and even Sam emerged from the back room where he'd been working on his laptop. "Game?" I stood slowly. "Vanessa, the only game here was the one you were playing behind my back for 6 months." "You destroyed my car," Zane snarled. "Prove it." He lunged at me, but Mick's ex-cop reflexes were faster. Zane found himself face down on a sticky table with his arm twisted behind his back. "Assault," Mick observed calmly. "In front of witnesses. Tina, call the police." "Wait," Vanessa grabbed Zane's free arm. "We'll leave, just let him go." "Not yet." I pulled out my phone and played an audio file. Zane's voice filled the bar, crystal clear. "Claire doesn't understand me like you do, Vanessa. Once your divorce is final, we can be together forever. I'll leave her, I promise." Vanessa's face went white. "You're engaged?" "I can explain." "You lying bastard!" She slapped him so hard the sound echoed off the walls. But my biggest revelation was still coming. "Oh, and Vanessa, about those photos someone's been taking of us?" I gestured to the bar's entrance, where Sherry stood frozen like a deer in headlights. "Your best friend has been documenting everything, planning to blackmail us both." The betrayal in Vanessa's eyes was almost worth the 7 years of marriage. Almost. The community's annual summer festival provided the perfect stage for my finale. 500 neighbors gathered in the park, including the HOA president, local business owners, and every gossip in a 10-mile radius. I'd spent the week preparing. Legal documents, audio recordings, financial statements, everything organized with the precision that had made me successful before I'd gotten comfortable in my marriage. Vanessa arrived with Edith, both dressed like they were attending a funeral. In a way, they were. "Ladies and gentlemen," I announced from the small stage set up for community announcements, "I have some news to share about my marriage." "Elliot, don't!" Vanessa pleaded from the crowd. I pressed play on the wireless speaker system. Zane's desperate voicemail filled the park. "Vanessa, baby, you have to choose. It's him or me. I can't keep living this lie. Claire's getting suspicious, and your husband is getting dangerous. We need to run away together, tonight." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Phones appeared, recording everything. "But wait, there's more." I held up a stack of papers. "Divorce settlement finalized this morning. Thanks to our prenuptial agreement and my wife's adultery, she gets to keep her car, her clothes, and her student loan debt. Everything else stays with me." Vanessa pushed through the crowd, her face twisted with rage. "You can't do this." I already did. I handed copies of the settlement to the nearest neighbors, who passed them around like wildfire. The house, the investments, the business accounts, all mine. You wanted better? Go find it. That's when Zane made his final mistake. He charged through the crowd like an angry bull, fists raised. But rage makes people clumsy, and I'd been planning this moment for weeks. I stepped aside at the last second. His momentum carried him straight into the decorative fountain, with a splash that soaked the first 3 rows of spectators. The crowd erupted in laughter and applause. Every phone in the park was recording as Zane floundered in 2 feet of murky water, his designer clothes ruined, his dignity destroyed. And that, I announced, is what better looks like. But I saved the best revelation for last. Oh, Vanessa, those anonymous photos that started this whole investigation? I gestured to the crowd, where Edith stood with her arms crossed, looking satisfied. Your mother sent them. She wanted you to learn a lesson about the consequences of poor choices. Vanessa spun around, staring at Edith in horror. Mom? You needed to grow up, Edith said coldly. I just gave you the push. The betrayal was complete. Husband, lover, best friend, mother, everyone had abandoned her. Vanessa stood alone in the center of the crowd, designer dress wrinkled, makeup smeared, social status obliterated. She looked at me with eyes full of hate, fear, and something that might have been regret. Please, she whispered, we can work this out. I laughed, not cruel, just genuinely amused. Vanessa, you announced you deserved better than our marriage. Congratulations, you got exactly what you deserved. I walked away through the parting crowd, leaving her standing there as the whispers closed in around her like hungry wolves. Behind me, I could hear Zane trying to climb out of the fountain while spectators filmed his humiliation. Sherry was arguing with the police about her blackmail scheme. Edith was explaining to anyone who'd listen how she'd been protecting her daughter from herself. But I didn't look back. I'd won completely. Legally, socially, financially. Vanessa would spend years rebuilding her reputation, if she ever could. Zane faced fraud charges and a very angry fiancé. Their affair was over before it had really begun. As for me, I had my house, my assets, my dignity, and the satisfaction of knowing that sometimes the quiet, underestimated husband gets the last laugh. She'd wanted better than our marriage. I'd given her something much more educational. The consequences of her choices. The end. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story. Write in the comments from which city you are watching.